Thanks, Ray. Bush and Cheney and our Congress are playing games with these mothers' children's lives. They are playing games. And the latest game they are playing is with the war supplemental spending bill. They passed a bill in both houses and sent it to the president that had a non-binding deadline date. You got to end the war by this date if you don't mind, if it's not too much trouble. And Bush vetoed it and said, give me a bill with no deadline in it. They said, well, we're going to get tough. We're going to stand up to this president. We're going to send him a bill with no deadline in it. But we're going to only pay for 2 months at a time instead of 4 months. That'll show him. And we're going to put in these benchmarks. Well, the Senate doesn't like the 2-month deal, so we don't even know if that's going to last after the Senate version and the conference committee. So what we're looking at in terms of standing up to this president and his war are benchmarks. But almost no account of the benchmarks tells you what the hell they are. How many people have even heard what the benchmarks are? There you go. There are 5 of them, and the first one, and the important one, and the one they actually care about, is we need to steal Iraq's oil. The Iraqi parliament needs to pass an oil law. And this oil law is drafted. And it frees up over 2/3 of Iraq's oil to the ownership of foreign corporations. And by the way, Congresswoman Lynn Woolsey voted no on this bill. And Congressman Dennis Kucinich raised the topic of this oil theft in the Democratic caucus and was yelled at by the same guy who yelled at Tina Richards and called her an idiot liberal because he brought up the topic of us stealing Iraq's oil. Who's been saying for 5 years that this was about blood for oil? The peace movement. The other 4 benchmarks are let's punish the Iraqis for not handling our occupation of their country very well. Or else we'll get out. Or else we'll do what they want and leave their country. So they have to show that they're a real democracy. They have to amend their constitution the way we've told them. They have to have local elections the way we've told them, or they're not a real democracy. And if they don't do these things, then we'll get out. The majority of the Iraqi people want us to get out. The majority of the Iraqi parliament wants us to get out. The U.S. active duty troops in Iraq want us to get out. The American people want us to get out. It's the Congress and the White House. But if Congress does say that's enough, no more war, and cuts off the money, or if Congress listens to Senator Gravel and says it's going to be a felony to stay in Iraq, well, Bush is going to go take money illegally from the Pentagon and stay in Iraq, or he's going to add one more to the list of dozens of felonies that he is committing. But the war's not going to end. So what if Congress decides to investigate some of these crimes by Bush and Cheney? Well, the White House is refusing subpoenas. They are refusing subpoenaed documents. They are refusing subpoenaed witnesses. When President Richard Nixon did this, the House Judiciary Committee passed an article of impeachment against him for refusing to turn over documents. We've got a bill in Congress for the impeachment of Vice President Dick Cheney. It's House Resolution 333. There are 3 articles of impeachment in it. There are 4 members of Congress supporting it. One of them, a year ago, was useless, was worthless, was the most centrist, corporate, unreliable Democrat in the country. Donna Edwards almost threw him out as a peace candidate in the primary, put the fear of election defeat in him, and Al Wynn has now signed on to House Resolution 333. We need to put some fear into these people. We're going to do that when we get down to the Capitol. We're going to impeach Bush and we're going to impeach Cheney first.